to have you back for day three. Welcome. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. We are jumping into some of my absolute favorite things to go over with you today. So let's go ahead and get people in here. Amazing. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to day three. We are diving into some really cool things today. We are going to be talking about attract and nurture, the first two components of your core four revenue generating activities. I'm so glad to have you here. Hello, Margaret and Jamie and Olga. Welcome back. And Lisa and Sharon and Sabrina. And Miss Marissa, how are you, my dear? She's coming in all the way from Australia. It's got to be like super early. David, how are you? Glad to have you. And Miss Jamie, I hope you're doing so good today. All right, guys, we've got some juicy goodness to dive in today. And one of the things that I really love about what I get to teach you guys today is it's the beginning of the core four revenue generators. And this is the 80% or the, how do we want to put it? It's the four things that you're going to focus on that's actually going to create 80% of your revenue. So if it is not in any of these four categories, there's going to be a huge sense of relief for you because you can either take them out and not do them anymore, or you're going to see what pieces have been missing and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what a relief. What a relief that I don't have to do these pieces over here. So I'm so glad to have you guys here today. Welcome. If you guys are joining me on Facebook, go ahead and give me a hashtag live just to say hello. Let me know you're here. And on Substack, go ahead, just say hello. By the way, we are going to have these recordings up for you guys until the end of August. So not to worry. This is not something that you've got to binge in one day. I really want you to be able to go back and see any of the things that you feel that you might have missed, because that is going to actually help you decide how you can create your own consistent client ecosystem. And so that is what these four components that we're going to go over today and tomorrow is going to create. If you want a steady stream of paying clients, we got to have a system. So we're going to be diving into these four things. So I'm so glad to have you guys here. Before we dive into all of this, though, what I want to do is make sure that you guys have access to three things. And I'm going to pop them in the chat here for you right now. One is the link. The first one is going to be a link to book a call with me if you are interested in having a conversation to explore whether Six Figure Foundations or Activate Abundance is a good fit for you. The second one is going to be information, the details around Activate Abundance Academy so that you can, or actually that's the third one. The second one is actually Six Figure Foundations. So I just want you to have that information because last night I officially opened enrollment for both of these two. And I really want to make sure that you know about them now because I'm not just teaching you a collection of ideas. I'm actually showing you real pieces of your boutique business. So on day one, we talked about the identity of the CEO that you're becoming. And yesterday we talked about design. So we talked about your offer suite and the ways that you can actually make sure that you are creating an easy yes grand slam, soulful grand slam offer. So you can definitely go back and take a look at those. Today we're talking about building that front half of your consistent client ecosystem with Attract and Nurture. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about Connect and Invite. And as you go through some of this, you're going to start seeing exactly where the gaps in your own business systems are popping up inside of your business. That's actually a really good thing. So don't be afraid of that. You're not behind. You just haven't learned any of this, right? I mean, the truth is that, we were trained in a modality. We were trained in coaching, or we were trained in energy work, or we were trained in some other way that we were going to help our people create transformation. And so if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, holy cow, I'm really missing these pieces, that's okay. Do not be afraid of that. This is important because we want you to know how you can actually start seeing the gaps so that we can start plugging the gaps, right? Because once you see those gaps, you can actually stop just throwing random tactics at your business and actually start strengthening the things that need to be strengthening. And if you are going through this and you're thinking, you know what, this is great information, but I actually want help building it, That's why I opened enrollment last night for these two programs. So just a quick reminder before we dive in, Six-Figure Foundations for the newer emerging coach or holistic practitioner that still needs foundations of their profitable coaching business, okay? Activate is for the woman who's already made money in her business, but wants more consistent clients, more predictable revenue, and that deeper mentorship support that you're going to get with some private calls, stronger offers, and actually wraparound support for an entire year. I'll talk to you more about those a little bit later. But for now, what I want you to do as you're listening to this, as you're going through this training, I want you to keep in mind, do you have a consistent client ecosystem that you can trust, that is consistently bringing new people in, and you've got a pathway to move them from stranger to viewer, from viewer to potential client, from potential client to lead, and lead to buyer? Okay, if you don't, that's okay. We're going to change that, and I'm going to share that with you today. All right. So, who's excited? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart. Give me something in the chat letting me know that you're excited. Great. Thank you, Olga. Thanks for the heart. Thanks for the love. Glad to see you back, Elizabeth. And Sandy, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. Mary, welcome. So glad to see you here. And Lisa, too. All right, guys, we are diving in. This is super, super fun. Let me go ahead and grab my workbook because I want to share a graphic that is going to actually help you understand this. And I really like to I love analogies, you guys. So you're going to hear analogies in my stories. I'm a visual person. I like to see things, but I also learn better through stories. So these visuals are gonna help you, and hopefully the analogies will help you too. So as we dive into attract and nurture, I want you first to understand what exactly is a system and how our clients actually created. Okay, this is important because if we don't actually know how people move from stranger to buyer, then you're not going to know which pieces of a system you already have dialed in or which some of the pieces you're missing. Okay, so when we take a look at how somebody becomes a buyer, a paying client, the first thing is that they are a stranger, right? They don't really know us yet, right? And I want you to think of this in terms of the analogy that I like to use is a house. And we talked about your offer suite last night. I want you to think about your house as being different rooms inside of your house, but your house is your offer suite, right? So in your house, you've got your high ticket, you've got your mid ticket, you've got your low ticket offer. Okay. Now, strangers are walking across the front sidewalk in front of your house, right? There's a sidewalk in front of your house. People are going by. Your job rather is not to run out of your house, try to grab somebody off the sidewalk and drag them into the house, right? Like that would be weird. That would be gross. Like that's just not the way that the world works. But yet, if you are just posting and expecting somebody to respond to that post and buy, that is actually what that is doing. It's actually trying to go get a stranger and trying to convert them into a buyer by taking them immediately into your offer. Okay. That does not work well. And it especially doesn't work well for heart-centered entrepreneurs who don't want to feel salesy or slimy or icky about inviting somebody into their offers, right? So what I want you to think is that in between that sidewalk and in between your house, we have a couple of stops that people get to make. One is a pathway. So leading from the sidewalk to the front porch of your house is going to be a pathway. And along that pathway, I want you to think of our little benches, like little, pocket places that, people can have a seat before they're invited to actually work with you. So what we're going to talk about today is in the attract and the nurture is how do we get somebody's attention who is walking along that sidewalk, who's a stranger, and invite them to take a turn onto our pathway and just have a seat at the bench. We are not trying to drag them into the house. Okay. We want them to just have a seat on the bench so that we can give them incredible value. Okay. Now, some of your people that are in that sitting at the bench are going to hang out there for a while. They might move from bench to bench for a while, right? Why? Because they are actually moving from stranger to viewer, from viewer to a lead, somebody who's more engaging, and then to actually connecting with you before they can actually become a potential client and a paying client. Okay, so this is actually really, really good news. All we're doing is we're just slowing down the process anymore. So if in the past you have been just trying to sell somebody on a discovery session, you don't need to do that anymore. As a matter of fact, it's not the most effective way for you to actually bring on a paying client. A much more effective, heart-centered way that's going to feel so much easier, that's going to get you more yeses, is the process that I'm describing. We're going to get their attention. We're going to talk about this. By the way, your freebie is going to be 25 organic ways to attract new people into your ecosystem today. So for those of you that are live to hear, we're giving you those for free. I'm so, so glad that you guys are here. What we want to do when they come and have a seat at the bench is we want to give them value, right? And then we're still not even inviting them up into our house. We're going to then invite them to come have a seat on the front porch. Now, the front porch is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And that is actually the connection piece where we are just connecting, having a seat on the front porch. I live in the South, so I think about front porch, grabbing, a glass of wine, cup of coffee, kombucha, whatever it is that you want, tea, and we're just going to have a connection call. We're going to talk. I'm going to listen. I'm going to hear what's going on, and I'm going to help you create a win. There still has not been an offer made yet. Okay, so I want you to hear that there are multiple steps and points that people actually need to go through on their way to becoming a paying client. But once they're up on your front porch and when you can actually hear what it is that they're struggling with, that's also helping you decide whether or not this is going to be somebody that you want to actually invite into your home, right? Is this somebody that you could actually help? Then the invitation piece comes. Okay, so we're going to talk about the first component of it, attract and nurture, which how do we get the right person to turn off the sidewalk and come have a seat at our bench? And then what is this pathway with all of these benches? Well, that's actually nurture. So we're going to actually help you do that too. Okay. By the end of today, you're going to walk away with your own ideas on one simple way that you can attract somebody into your ecosystem and one simple way that you can nurture. Okay. We're not going to put the entire 90-day plan together because that would be too much to cover in an hour. But these 4 revenue generating activities are what is going to create your clients and enroll clients consistently and predictably. And they all work together. It's why they are linked. And so as you're listening today, I want you to think about, do you feel that you've got a good attraction process and a good nurture process? Tomorrow, you're going to think about, do I have a good connection, way to connect with people? And do I have a strong way and heart-centered way to invite people? Because here's what I see happening a lot out in the world. People are posting and they might be sharing a freebie, but that is only a small part of attract. So if you are expecting people to become paying clients just by posting, you are missing the nurture, the connect, and the invite pieces in your system. Okay. If you are attracting and nurturing, but you don't connect or invite, that's a problem too, right? So if you're attracting the right people, but you're not actually connecting with them one-on-one, or you're not giving them value and giving them an opportunity to actually hear you, see you, know you, like you, trust you, that's a problem. They can't become a paying client, right? And if you are attracting and nurturing and then going right into the invitation, that can be a little wonky too, because there's no real connection. And people really do need to see you. They need to hear you. We all want to, know who it is that we would actually be spending money with, right? So there has to be some sort of connection piece there. And then even if we're doing all of these, but we're missing the invite, that's a problem because people need to be invited, right? If you're having a party, you don't just get the house ready, clean the house, get all the food, and then never invite anybody to the party, right? And yet I see people and coaches doing this all the time. They're posting, and some of them are nurturing. Rarely do they actually connect, but what they're really leaving out is they're never letting people know, and they're never making that invitation to come to the party, to explore how they could have your support. Okay, so these are the 4 core revenue generators. It's what my clients work on, especially in Activate Abundance Academy. We actually worked on this today. They've got their entire September plan dialed in now. They know exactly what they're going to do to attract, exactly what they're going to do to nurture, exactly what they're going to do to connect, and exactly what they're going to do to invite. They've got that locked and loaded today. So they're good to go for September. So what I want you to think about is, especially as we dive into Attract, is, and I want you to answer these questions honestly. How do people currently find you? How do people currently find you? How do they get, how are you getting in front of your ideal client so they can see you and really understand what it is that you do, how it is that you help people get their transformation? Okay. And if you're unsure, that's okay. Remember, we're just getting curious here. I also want you to take a look and ask yourselves how many new people actually discover your business each month. Do you know that? How many new people are you bringing onto your email list? If you have one, if you don't have an email list, we definitely will start that. And that's what we're going to help you create inside of Foundations. How many new people are actually discovering you and your business each month? If you don't have a way to know that, then we're missing a critical piece, because if you don't know who those people are, there's no way to nurture and connect with them and then make an invitation. Okay. How are you intentionally staying connected with the people already in your world? Okay. So if you have an email list, are they just kind of hanging out there? Most of what I see is that people might have a freebie. They might even have a short email sequence, but then they get ghosted. It's like, I'm not really connecting with those people anymore. Or maybe there is a Facebook group that you've got going on, but there's really no connection there, right? There's no engagement there. There's no way that you're actually connecting with people. And then if someone discovered you today, what would happen next? If somebody was interested and they wanted to learn a little bit more, what happens next? Right? If we don't know the answers to that, then this is just clearly showing that we're missing some pretty critical foundational pieces in our business in order to move someone who is interested or a stranger to actually move through this process that I just shared with you. So, people don't become paying clients overnight, right? They don't, unless they've already been in your world. Right? They're already in your world. They already know you. They already love you. They already like you. They already trust you. By the way, those are the people that are ready to buy now. And there's about 3% of those people inside your ecosystem, inside your world right now, that are ready to buy. Do you know how to determine who they are? If not, we need to do that too. We need to determine who is in my ecosystem that has actually been in my world, who knows me, who likes me, who trusts me, and is looking for support. Okay. Now, the other thing that I want to share is, before we go into the nurture piece, is when we are inviting people into our ecosystem, when we are inviting people to step off that pathway and come have a seat on the bench, we have to make sure that we are inviting the right people. Okay. Why? Because if we take a look at everybody in our world, there's about 30% of the people that I call sidewalkers because they stay on the sidewalk. They are not interested in doing anything about solving their problem. Okay. They might like your post, they might comment, but they're not willing or capable to do anything about their problem. And in order for anybody to be a paying client, they have to be willing to do something, right? They have to be willing to get out of their pain. They have to be willing to actually have support to get the transformation. Okay, so that's a lot of people. So we want to make sure that we are clear on who our ideal client is so that we can bring the right people into our ecosystem. Okay, now that's 30%. There's 67% of people that are actually looking for a solution to the problem that you solve. Those are the people that we want to bring into our ecosystem. 67%. They know they have a problem and they actively want it solved. They just haven't found you yet. They just haven't found you yet. That's actually really good news. So those are the people that we are going to get in front of and that we want to find, how do we bring them into our ecosystem, right? Because those are the people that are actually willing and capable to do something different to actually change the problem that they've got going on. Okay. What I see a lot happening out there, and you might see this too, and you might even feel like you're doing this yourself, is you're just kind of like throwing stuff out there and hoping that somebody grabs it, right? Hey, who wants my thing, right? It's like we're like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Let's see what sticks. Let's see, who comments today. Well, if the person is a sidewalker and they're not willing to do anything, then that's not really helping. So this is where we want to make sure that we're clear on our messaging and our ideal client and our positioning. It's why we talked about creating a Soulful Grand Slam offer yesterday, about what to include in it and making sure that we are actually solving a specific problem that our ideal client wants. Okay. So that leaves the 3%, right? 30% plus 67% plus 3%. Those 3% that are left are actually like, I've been to your stuff. I've seen you. I'm following you. I've listened to your podcast. I've downloaded some freebies. I've been in your world for a while. I've met you someplace, like I'm ready to go. And that's going to be some of you. Some of you have been in my world for a while. Some of you have been coming to multiple events that I teach. And I'm so, so glad that you're here and you're ready to say, I'm done with this. I'm tired of having an expensive hobby and I want to get this dialed in. Okay. That's where you can actually book a call with me, or you have a way to do that by joining me inside of Six Figure Foundations or Activate. Now, once they come have a seat on the bench, now we're going to dive into nurture. Okay. And we need to have a process to do that. We need to have a plan for this. So this is where people begin to know you. They are able to hear you. They're able to read whatever it is that you're sharing. Maybe they meet you in person. Maybe they have an experience of you. Maybe they're coming to, like what I am doing right now, I call a nurture event. This is a nurture event. This is a way to give value and to help you decide if you even want to learn what it is that I'm teaching. Do you even resonate with me? Do you even like what it is that I'm teaching? Right? So this is a way that I can give lots of value and help you put some of these pieces together so that you can also see whether or not I am somebody that you would actually want to learn from. Okay. These types of events as well are on, and these can be done in person. They can be done online. They don't have to be a full 5 days, by the way. You know, I'm doing 5 days here. I've been doing this since 2018, so this is not new for me, but it's really, really fun because I feel like I get to show up and I get to nurture. I get to give value. I get to help you create epiphanies and wins and insights and ahas and put some of these pieces of the puzzle together. It's one of the reasons why people come back to these events over and over and over again, because they're like, oh, there's another piece. I want to do that. And that's great. So whether you ever work with me or not, it doesn't matter. I know that you're going to walk away with incredible value. Okay. And this is where new people begin to start seeing themselves in you. They start believing that you might be the person for them. Okay. And that's really, really great. We want that to happen. Okay. So I want to jump back to attract for just a minute, because attraction is visibility, but it's not about going viral. And the beautiful thing is that all of us who are building and growing boutique businesses, you don't need to go viral. You don't need 20,000 people following you on Instagram. You don't need a giant audience. You don't even need a giant email list. You don't even need a lot of clients, if we're going to be honest. Like, depending on what your offer is, you know, thinking about it. If you have let's just say, I'm just going to totally make this up for numbers' sake because it's easy. These numbers are going to be easy for me to do in my brain. Let's just say you have a 6-month program that somebody can join you in, and it's $5,000. You only need 20 people in an entire year. That's less than 2 people a month. Okay. So that's 6 figures. That's 6 figures. Okay. So when you have a boutique business, this is not about trying to get followers. This is about attracting the right person. This isn't about being influenced, being famous, right? It's about becoming known by the right people so that they can see you and so they can find you. So we talked about this just a few minutes ago when I said, how are people finding you? So here's where people can discover you, right? So let's just think about it. Where are people currently finding you? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Instagram, LinkedIn, Substack? Maybe you have a podcast. Maybe you network. And again, networking can be online, it could be in person. Maybe you love to speak, right? And again, speaking can be virtual, like I'm doing today. It can also be in person. Maybe you love to do workshops like I do. I'm a teacher at heart. I love to teach. It's fun for me. Do you have referrals? Maybe the way that you're building and growing your business right now is people are referring to you. Maybe you've got a website. By the way, you don't have to have a website for this, but maybe you do. Maybe that's how they're finding you. Maybe they're finding you through community events, right? So think about conferences that you're attending yourself and you're meeting some people there, right? Maybe it could even be retreats that you go to. Maybe it's community programs that you're participating in, right? A lot of my clients that are inside of both Activate and Six Figure Foundations, they collaborate with each other. As a matter of fact, 8 of them just did a really cool event this week that just made my heart so happy. 8 of them got together and they, were showing up and talking about how to calm their nervous system. So that was really, really fun. Another way they can find you is maybe through a guest interview, right? So guest interviewing can happen on somebody else's podcast, or it could be where someone is interviewing you inside of their Facebook group or on their Substack, or maybe you're even going and you're a guest expert inside of somebody's program. Okay. And then finally, email, right? There's email swaps, there's bundles. So there's a lot of ways that you can actually bring the right person into your ecosystem. Okay. So I want you to think about what are the top 3 ways that people are actually finding you? And what does your ideal client right now currently believe that their problem is? Because when we are clear on what is the specific problem that they want solved, then we can actually go to where they are and we can give them value, whether it's in the form of a talk that you're doing or a workbook or a freebie or again, a speech or, a podcast interview or things like that. Okay. So let's take a look at your visibility plan. What we want to also take a look at is what is one activity, right? You will get overwhelmed and start spinning. You only need to pick one, but I want you to think about for the next 7 days, which one of these could you actually implement that feels fun, that feels easy, and that is going to get you in front of your ideal client. Okay. Maybe it is actually publishing one post to your personal page that could sound something like, hey, who are my women who are just feeling so overwhelmed and burnt out and they're not getting any good sleep? I've got a free guide for you. And they can raise their hand and they can actually get the free guide, right? Maybe you want to reach out to somebody who's in a community, right? Where maybe you are in somebody else's community and you could ask them if you could share something with their community. Maybe you already have a high converting, high value freebie. By the way, if you don't have a high value, high converting freebie, that is something that we work on with you inside of Six Figure Foundations and Activate, because that is a client creating asset. And that is something that is going to compound over time. You need to have a way, a reason for somebody to turn off that sidewalk and come have a seat at the bench. And so one of those benches is a high value, high converting freebie that solves a very, very specific problem. Okay. You could attend a networking event. You could ask for an introduction. You could speak somewhere. You could write a Substack article for those of you that are trying out Substack. You could share one client story about how you help somebody, right? These are ways that people can see you and find you. Because if they can't see you and they can't find you, we're done, right? There's like, how are you actually going to serve and nurture them, right? So I want you to think about one activity, and that is going to be one thing that you are going to do over the course of the next week. Okay. Now let's dive into what do you do once they turn off the sidewalk and come have a seat at that bench? Well, now we're into nurture, and nurturing happens in a one-to-many capacity. That's why I called this a nurture event. I'm the one, you guys are the many group, right? Nurturing is what begins to create trust. People rarely hire somebody that they just met unless there's a transfer of trust there with a referral. Okay. But trust has to happen over time because we do not want to be in the energy of convincing people. Okay. We do not want to be in the energy of how do I convince somebody that I have value? How do I convince somebody that they need to work with me? How do I convince somebody that they need to buy? That's not what we want to do. That is actually scarcity energy, and that can feel really, really off to somebody. And when they feel that it's off, they are going to actually start moving away. They might not even be sure why it feels off. Okay, so we want to stay out of convincing, and instead we want to nurture and give value and help them see something that they might have missed, right? So during this workshop, you guys might see that you actually were not in the identity of being an empowered CEO, right? I had a lot of feedback after day one where people were like, oh my God, my biggest takeaway is that I'm in the identity of a coach that's just trying to build a business, not in the identity of a CEO growing a profitable business. Okay. Maybe you actually got to understand, like, what does your offer suite? And you're like, oh, actually, I don't really have an offer suite. Okay, great. Trust builders are ways that you nurture in a one-to-many. And so I'm just giving you some ideas here. Okay. A weekly email for two people that have already come into your ecosystem, right? They already raised their hand, they got your guide, they're on your email now. When we do a weekly email to our people, that allows us to continue to give value and to nurture them with ahas, with insights, with behind the scenes things, with if you're a nutrition coach, maybe it's a recipe. If you are a mindset coach, maybe you're sharing, one specific prompt or something that they could do. If you're an energy coach, maybe you could talk about a simple 2-minute energy experience that they could take advantage of. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, are you doing any of these things? Are you sending a weekly email? Are you doing anything on Substack? Are you creating Facebook posts? Are you sharing stories? Are you inviting people either onto a podcast, or are you getting in front of other people's or on other people's podcasts? That's a one-to-many. Are you sharing any live videos? And we're going to talk about live videos in just a minute, because this is something that is really, really important, and that we see is working 30 to 40% more than just people who are reading things. Are you sharing any personal stories? Are you putting out any educational content? Right? Are you hosting any workshops, whether it's a 20-minute live or a nurture event? And are you actually growing a community and creating engagement there? Okay. Because these things need to happen inside of what I like to call a hub. A hub is a place that we are bringing everybody to one central location. Okay. For me, it's my Facebook group, because that is where it's a private group. Only women who are building and growing boutique service-based businesses come into that group. And I only let those people into the group. Why? Because that's the value that I'm giving there, is to help you build and grow a boutique business and to have some ahas and epiphanies. So when I go live there once a week, that's sharing and giving value. That's nurturing. When I share a content post, or when I offer a freebie on my Freebie Fridays, that's building trust. That's giving value. Okay, so just ask yourself, do I have some of these things in place? If not, you're just missing the nurture piece. Okay, and I would be surprised if anybody had all 4 of these locked and loaded, by the way. Why? Because we are always evolving and growing, and there's always ways for us that we can take a look at, well, where do I have an opportunity to get in front of my ideal client more effectively? Where do I have an opportunity to nurture my community a little bit more? Where do I have an opportunity to connect with people one-to-one? And where do I have an opportunity to increase the number of invitations that I'm making? Okay, so live events, live nurture events, whether it's a live in-person event or a 1-hour workshop or an event that you're seeing me do here, are 30 to 40% more effective in converting people who are curious to buyers. Does anybody have an idea why? Anybody have an idea why? Just pop that in the chat. Trust. Yep. Absolutely. You got it, Mary. It's trust. Trust. We want to see people so that we can trust them and feel safe. We talked about the value of feeling safe yesterday. People will not buy if they don't feel safe with you, right? And what's happening right now with the AI industry and all of the AI out there is that we're not even sure what's true and what's not true. We're not sure if what I'm reading is true or even what I'm seeing is true. And so when you go live, you are actually live and real and in person, and people can actually trust that you are who it is that you say you are, right? So that is actually converting 30% more people who are in your ecosystem. And when they show up to a training or an event or a workshop that you're doing, they have already raised their hand and said, I am leaning in and I am interested in having a solution to my problem. Okay. So the final thing that I want to share before I'm actually going to bring on somebody today to share a little bit about what she's doing to attract and nurture and her amazing boutique business is we want to talk about hours and touch points. Okay. So one of the things that you might have heard and you may not have heard, but it takes multiple touch points before people can become a buyer. What I see often is that someone says, well, I posted or I sent an email out or I invited somebody once. But really, what we're seeing today and the statistics that we're seeing now on repeat, and I can see it in my own business, is it takes about 11 hours of people hanging out on my benches and or having a conversation with me on my front porch before they're saying, yep, I want to come into the house. Okay, so 11 hours and anywhere between 20 to 40 touch points. Holy cow, right? The good news is that touch points can happen in so many ways. Touch points can happen with just a comment. Touch points can happen with an email. Touch points can happen with talking to somebody and just saying their name, right? Like when I say, Olga, I'm so glad you're here. That's a touch point, right? When you're here and I say, Elizabeth, I love that kimono or whatever it is that you're wearing. That's so beautiful. That's a touch point, right? When I say, Trisha, I love the gray. I've got mine going on too. Like that's a touch point. So there's a lot of different ways that you can create touch points with people, but touch points are critical to establishing trust and safety with people. Okay. So I am actually going to stop the share here for just a minute because I want to bring on a amazing woman. Her name is Kristen Hadley. And Kristen, let me see if I can get you or if we can share. I'm going to make you co-host. I think that's what we can do. And I'm going to take the spotlight off of me and put that on you. There we go. There we are. Now we're together. Hi.
Hey. Hi, Chris.
I am so glad you're here. So, for those of you that think that you can only make money by being a business coach, I'm going to introduce you to Kristen. She actually helps women communicate with their animals or men, right? So, Kristen, I want you to share. You are the founder of the Interspecies Communication.
Sure. Yes.
And
Hi,
I'm not
everybody.
sure all the extra stuff. So, tell us who you are, what it is that you do.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here, Chris. Thank you. My name is Kristen Hadley, and I am the founder of the Heart to Heart School of Interspecies Communication. And I'm also the creator of the Heart to Heart Pathway in Animal Communication. I do consultations for people who know that animals are really important members of their family and beings in their lives, not just here as pets, but here as partners. And I love what I do. And part of my work, most of my work, is teaching other people to do this and then certify them to become professional animal communicators if they indeed want that.
Amazing. And I love your work so much because the mission behind it as well, it just really touched my heart because the more we have connection and compassion and with our animals, that also feeds out into the rest of the world with how we're actually dealing with humans.
Yes, yes. I say, animals, they're leading the path to peace. And those of us who
Mhm.
follow them,
Yeah,
we're at the edge. So
yeah. So, Kristen, you came into Activate, and one of the things that you and I have got to work on together was actually getting your system in place. And I want you to share a little bit about how has your business changed by understanding the process and being able to be clear on how you can focus on the core four.
Sure. My business, I have changed. Let me start there, right? It
Mhm.
starts with ourselves. And I have changed so much in terms of my confidence and my own clarity about um, not just my offers and my program, but who I am being and
Mhm.
how to talk about it. Through the attraction process, through the connection process and nurturing, I have just gotten really good and comfortable, more than good at, but comfortable at explaining what it is that I do to people at a level that they can understand how it can help them. And that has just been very freeing for me because I used to sit and wonder, okay, I'm going to write an email now. What am I going to say? I want to invite people into my program, but I don't really I can describe it the way that I see it, but I've had so many opportunities through the attraction and connection and nurturing process and invitation to
Mhm.
describe it in ways that matter to them. So that's been tremendous. Putting my systems in place, I came with some offers. I came with a rough offer suite. And I have really now created something that I have my, bite size offer. I have my mid-level offer. I have my deep dive offer, and I have my very intimate private high-end high ticket offer.
Mhm.
And that what that does for me is I don't worry about what I'm going to invite people into. I know that I have something wherever they're at and I can support them. And that has taken kind of the pressure or mm, the resistance out of having the real live conversations. The other thing, communication is my thing, animal communicator. I used to be a speech pathologist, so my life has always been about communication, and that's the way my human design is as well. However, I kind of hid behind my work because I felt icky about sales. I didn't quite know how you can't go from cold to, hi, come and work with me.
Mhm.
It just doesn't work unless you have a list of 50,000 people or more, right? I'm
Yeah.
guessing
Yep.
that number, but
Yep. Yep.
and I love the way I say that Chris has the best magical language. um, to be able to talk with people, I love the connection part. I love relating to people. I love building relationship. And I then get to choose too who I want to work with, right? Like I have discovered so much about who my ideal people are. That has been a tremendous foundation from stepping into Activate. It's just been
Yeah.
amazing. And I will say just the content is so powerful and complete, as well as the guidance and the accountability that Chris that you give us. It's really it's amazing. Love it.
I love it. And I love having you there. And, I remember, when you first came in, there was, this idea that, everything had to be so hard. And, one of the things, right, which is normal, like we all do. We're like, oh my God, this is going to like take a lot of work and it's going to be really, really hard. And while there is effort involved, one of the things that I have loved watching you do is simplify the process and
Yeah.
being able to, again, have some things that just are making it so much easier and simpler for you to consistently bring some people into your programs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having a system for each step, for each of the four core pieces,
Hmm.
is it takes the guesswork out, and then it's just steps, and you can do the steps. Once you know what the steps
Yeah.
are, you can do them, you know.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, thank you for saying that. Yeah, and we just created an amazing September for you.
Yes.
Just, on our call earlier, a $26,000 month by focusing on attract, nurture, connect, and invite. So I
Yeah.
cannot, and I know that was a little bit of a stretch, but you're like, yes, I can do it. This is going to be amazing, right? If you
Yeah.
didn't have that attract, nurture, connect, and invite, how would you feel about actually potentially reaching your goal?
Well, setting a money goal is always an exercise, right? Like we
Mhm.
grow every time we step into that. And I would end up setting my, not necessarily money goal, but I have income needs and I
Mhm.
have a desire to serve a certain number of people, but I set that based on what I thought I could scrape together versus having a system and a plan built that I already have people in, like I like to refer it all back to nature, but in my
Yeah.
pond
Yeah.
ready to step
Yeah.
in, you
Yeah.
know, and that that's really exciting. So it's not how can I get there? It's, oh, if I do these things, I know we can do that. I know I can do that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you for saying that because one of the things that reminds me of is many of us, when we're first starting to build and grow our business, we are in constant client acquisition, right? We're like, oh my gosh, how do I get my next client? How do I get my next client? How do I get my next client? But you've been able to create is your pond. So we've got new people coming in, right? They're coming off the sidewalk, they're having a seat at your benches. Then they are moving to come have a seat on your front porch. Then they're moving in to your offers. And then even, once they're a client, they're continuing to stay in your world, whether they're either renewing with you or they're moving into other places. So you still have income being generated in your business without having to be in new client acquisition mode like all of the time and be exhausted.
Yes. That, yeah, I love that. I always equate it to like a garden, right? And
Yeah.
attracting the right beings to the garden is so important. But I feel to the for myself, like I do what I do for a bigger reason than just helping Mary and Fluffy to work through a problem that they're going through. I love that, but the bigger reason is really why I'm here. And I think other people who get into the healing field, who are heart-centered business owners, this is why we do this. We want to change what we've struggled with for other people.
Yeah.
And being able to follow people along the path from just stepping in to really then empowering them in a way through what I've been able to create through Activate and Chris, that has changed me. It's just so powerful to see the impact, and I don't know. That's why we're doing it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we also get to be well paid doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's an important part. I mean, Kristen's got a family. I've got a family. We've got to put food on the table, but we want to do more than just survive. We want to thrive. We want to be able to, have an amazing boutique business that allows us to not only pay our bills, but also do some fun, darn stuff with it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Right. And let your nervous system calm down so that you can
Yes.
actually get creative and not like be
Yes.
grappling at what do I do next and who do I
Mhm.
pull over you always say pull across the finish
Yeah.
line.
Drag across the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Kristen,
Yeah.
how can people find you? Because I definitely want you to, if you have a link that you can pop in the chat for us so that people can connect with you. And by the
Absolutely.
way, you guys, Kristen is so amazing. Like, if you've got questions about Activate and you're not comfortable asking me,
Oh,
ask
yeah.
Kristen. I'm sure she'll
Absolutely.
be happy to share what her experience is or what she's learned or any of that. So, and I invite all of my clients to do that or anybody who's even interested. Like I want to be an open book so that you guys can actually talk to real people
Yeah.
to help you see how you can actually create the exact same thing or more or better. Yeah.
For
So,
sure.
so where are you? You are on Facebook. You've got an amazing Facebook group.
Yes, I'm on Facebook under Kristen M. Hadley. I'll pop those links in when we're done chatting here,
Okay,
Chris.
perfect.
And
Perfect.
then I have a Facebook group community. It's a free complimentary community. I teach in there every week. It's called Animal Communication Circle. And
Mhm.
that, I had resistance to the Facebook group thing. I just want to be completely honest here.
It's
I had
okay.
resistance.
Yeah.
I don't
Thank
love
you for
social
saying
media,
that. Yes.
you know, but it doesn't feel like Facebook. It feels like a classroom, a private space that I have. I curate it all. It's people that people have to ask to come in and I have to say, yes, this is the place for you. And it's an
Yeah.
opportunity to meet them, hear what they want, hear what they need, and say, I can help you with this. I can
Mhm.
help you with this. I can help you in this way. And then they get to choose. And it's just so
Mhm.
organic, right?
Yeah.
So organic. And so I really like my community. Animal Communication Circle, I'll drop a link here. And I have a free gift. It's a self-assessment for animal communication just in your life.
Yeah.
If you how you relate to animals and what does that mean for you? So
Oh, thank you so much, Kristen. I can't wait to get that. I want to go through that assessment for me too, because we've
yeah.
got two cats now. We used to have three, but we've got two now. Amazing.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Kristen? Anybody have a question that you would want to actually get, somebody else's brain on? Mary, great. Go ahead. Kristen, are you okay? By the way, I didn't
I'm
even
great.
ask. Would
Yeah,
you be
yeah, yeah,
okay?
sure. Yep.
Mary, go ahead and come off
Uh,
mute.
okay, perfect. Hi, Kristen. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing.
yeah.
So I have a question because my business is not coaching specific,
Mhm.
and so I'm curious if you feel like the different training programs, the Six Figure Foundations or the Activate, would be helpful for someone who has a different style of boutique business, because I know yours isn't exactly like in
Mhm.
the mainstream coaching uh, region. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. And I just have a question, Mary, if you're comfortable sharing
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
do. Not that
yeah,
we need to dive into that. I won't do that. But yeah, what do you do?
yeah. I mean, I would love to. I do interior design for
Oh.
families with neurodivergent children or parents.
Mm, mm.
Um, And so I don't do a cookie cutter approach. Everything I do is custom to the families. It starts with interviewing everyone in the
Yeah,
household, and then I
got it.
create organization and design around their needs so that the
Oh my
home
gosh.
works for them.
Well,
Mhm.
first you are a coach. You are a coach,
Yeah.
you are a mentor, you're all of it. And that's myself too. And I kind of struggled with that in the past, not so much. I came into Activate recognizing that, but I didn't feel comfortable with the wording around it. I don't call myself an animal communication coach. In the industry, that's kind of like just not an on-brand word in the
Right.
industry, right? However, you are just by telling us what you do, right? Like that's what
Thanks.
you're doing.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely supportive of all of those pieces that you have going on. Activate Six Figure Foundations. You need Six Figure Foundations to put together the pieces that you want to give to people at different levels of engagement in working with you. And
Right.
then I know you have a system, so absolutely the signature system, right? And your offers. And then the Activate piece is just it's absolutely appropriate for your business because Chris teaches you a platform, a process, the system to be able to reach more people. And my gosh, what your work is just so powerful. Like
Yeah.
Thanks.
I never thought that I would have a Facebook group of 323 people. Like I had, I don't know, 62, and I was like, who wants to whatever, that's not how it works. Like since I started in
Yeah.
January, I have 323 people. Like, and it just works. So yes. And if you want to chat, Mary, about, you know, any other
Okay.
questions, for sure. I'm open to
Okay,
that.
cool. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. I really love
Um,
that. And
I-
congrats on your September month. That's very
yeah.
cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. So fun. Yeah. And I want you to, everybody here, like Kristen didn't say she had 10,000 people in a group, right? She has an amazing business. It is more important to have quality people and more of an intimate group than to have 20,000 followers that don't really aren't willing or capable to do anything, right? So 323 is amazing. Like it's great, but I want you to hear that that is so possible and doable because you don't need 10,000, right? You don't need that much. Kristen, thank you so much. I
Oh,
adore
thank you.
you and your work is so, so powerful. So we've got some people that are like, I want to join your group. So great. Go ahead and pop that here.
I will.
Definitely
Thanks,
share
Chris.
that in the chat. And then also your free guide. That would be great.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, my
Thanks.
friend. Good, good. All right, everybody. We are coming up at the end of day 3. Remember, today we focused on 2 core pieces. We focused on attract, making sure that we are bringing the right people into our ecosystem, the ones that are willing and capable. They know they have a problem and they're actually looking to have it solved. Then we talked about nurture, and nurture was one to many. How are we actually going to be, what are our benches, and how are we actually going to nurture them? So as you've been listening to this today and you're realizing, oh, okay, I've been attracting people, but maybe I haven't really been nurturing people. Or maybe you realize that you don't really have a consistent way of attracting the right people. Maybe you've been posting and posting, but there really isn't a larger ecosystem behind your content. And this is exactly why I don't believe that the answer is simply just like, just create more content, right? Just post 10 times a day, which actually there is, I had a coach who's like, oh yeah, just join me for the 10 posts a day challenge. I would much rather enjoy freedom in my business than actually spend all day on social media talking about freedom, right? So we want to make sure that we're helping you also build your client creating assets. So if you don't have a freebie, if you don't have client creating assets, then we're going to help you do that. Because the ecosystem is going to work around and understanding that the content that you share has a job, your lead magnet has a job, your trust building hub, like your community, wherever it is, decide whether you want to do it on LinkedIn, whether you want to do it on Substack, whether you want to do it on Facebook, whether you want to do it off social media completely in a different group, totally fine, but we do need a hub, right? I want you walking away every morning not asking what it is should I post today. I want you leading a business with an intentional pathway that helps the right people discover you, get to know you, trust you, connect with you, and eventually become clients. This is the work that we do inside of both Six Figure Foundations and Activate. So I am actually going to grab those links again for you guys. I'm going to pop them in the chat. Because we also have some time limited bonuses. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware that the bonus that we have, the fast track strategy bonus that we have for the first 5 people who join me inside of Activate, get a month of unlimited calls with me. We start with a 90-day plan or 90-minute call where we're going to map out your plan, very similar to what we just did with Kristen. We're going to create a 10K plan for you. We're going to get those pieces dialed in, and then you're going to have 30 days of Voxer access to me, and then also private calls with me. The only thing that I ask is that you take the action first before you book the call, right? Because it's not going to help if you're not taking action. So that's done intentionally so that we meet, you take the action, you book a call, we take the next step, you take the action, we book a call so that you can start creating income in your business within the first 30 days. Okay. Now, everybody who joins Activate Abundance and Six Figure Foundations is going to have a free ticket to the Boutique CEO event in February 2027. And this is going to be so super fun. It's going to be here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it is going to be an opportunity to meet in real life, in community, and also, dive into the pieces, whether we're building out more foundations, whether you are networking, whether you want to grow your hub. We're going to be diving into that on day 1 and 2. And then day 3 is going to be specific to those people who are in Activate. So Activate gets all 3 days, but we're going to dive into something very, very specific with Activate on day 3. So everybody's going to get a free ticket to that. That's a $3,000 value. We are going to be opening that up to the public when it comes time when we start promoting that event, but you guys are going to get to come for free. Okay. So the links are in the chat for Kristen, Animal Wisdom Journal Kit, her free gift. And then you also have those links. You've got a link, the top link that says Shine with Chris, Clarity. That is an opportunity for you to just meet with me, to have a conversation, to explore whether either one of these is a good fit for you. Okay, then we have the Six Figure Foundations program. You can click on the link. You can check that out. We are starting on September 8th for Six Figure Foundations. It is live. So I'm going to be walking you through it step by step with me, 2 calls a week, live for 4 months. After the 4 months, you get another 8 months of access to the content and the materials. Okay, and that investment is 1 payment of $3,997, or you can make 6 payments of $750. Okay, so that's Six Figure Foundations. Activate Abundance Academy is the entire year. It is going to include your foundations. So we're going to revisit your foundations. We're going to make sure that you've got all of your foundations solid and locked and loaded. If you don't, we will upgrade your offers or upgrade your system or get you dialed in on that. And that has wraparound support. It's got Voxer access. It also has monthly implementation days where we actually do the work on the call together. We have your monthly planning days, which is what we did today, which helped Kristen create her 20K month in September, where we are actually walking you through in real time. All right, what's your plan for attract, nurture, connect, invite? And you are walking away with the plan, one and done. Okay, you're not going to spin and wonder what it is that you're going to do. Okay, we also have mindset calls in that program, and we have tech calls for those of you that get caught in the tech weeds that are like, I don't actually know how to create a landing page or a registration page or a freebie or something where you're like, this is still real new to me. It's okay. We've got you. It is wraparound support. And that's really what I want you guys to hear, is that in either program, you're going to have wraparound support. You're going to have a sense of relief. You're going to know what to do. You're not going to be second guessing. You're not going to be sitting on the fence anymore. You're going to know the steps to take so that you can actually either create the foundations of your six-figure business or actually start bringing in a steady stream of consistent and paying clients then and actually have your systems all locked and loaded. So let me grab your freebie for today. Let me see. 25 evergreen organic ways to attract aligned clients without being online 24/7. So let me grab this. I'm going to pop it in the chat for you. And you guys can download it. Lots of links in there. So if you are ready, it's time. Now is actually the best time to get your business up and going because as we move into quarter 4, you can actually make up your entire year in quarter 4. But you're not going to do that if you don't have a system, if you don't have a plan. Okay, really, really important. Again, we're in August now. We can get a system and a plan dialed in so that you actually have that locked and loaded, and especially into Q4, and you're bringing in paying clients into your business. Okay, so we really don't want to wait until January to get this dialed in because Q4 is actually the biggest in the coaching world. You can really, really make up your entire year. All right, thank you for being here. Tomorrow we are diving into connect and invite. Okay, this is going to be, again, so fun. I love the Core 4 revenue generators. This has been like such a game changer, not only for my clients, but for me. And we're going to talk about what do you do? How do you actually connect one-to-one? What does that look like? And then how do you soulfully and naturally and authentically just invite somebody to take the natural next step with you so that when you are on a call with somebody, you're actually on a call with somebody who's actually interested, right? We're not on a call just trying to give away a free coaching session and then trying to drag them across the finish line and convince them to buy. Okay, we don't need to do that. So I hope everybody feels a sense of relief today, a sense of, okay, there is a process and it's not 62 steps. It's 4. 4. We're going to get these 4 steps in for you. You're welcome, Elizabeth. You're welcome, Olga. All right, everybody. I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.